Hello again. This is L8N. Rashida. Rashida, I've been watching a few of your shows, and I kind of combined all this into my show. And I was listening to one show, and, you know, the first thing that I got to say is I think you should start a GoFundMe for a battery for your smoke detector. Because you're always wanting to say, that dark black skinned women, are smart and intelligent and everything and not to compromise and everything. Well, don't compromise out on a battery. That costs what, $3 to change a battery? That way you don't have to listen to that beep all the time? Or is that what sings you to sleep at night? It's got to be one of them. And then you're always wanting to say, you like everybody to agree and everything, and including us white crackers. You like them. Everybody agree that, about the darkism that you created out of your own mind. Because everybody's racism about dark black women and black people. No, I still say that you set up those scenarios in your head. And then we move on to your begging for money. Ordinarily, I don't fault somebody for begging for money. But there is a point to where when you spam your own chat and beg for money for a lawsuit that you're going to lose, I'm just putting that out there. I mean, you can do whatever you want, and if people are willing to donate to you about that, hey, whatever. But I know you're going to lose. See, Rashida, I go do my homework too, because I listen to a lot of those programs about things like that. Because, hey, that's just what kind of guy I am. To go listen to other things about court. Because I happen to like things like that. And you've been doing it so much over the years of, 20, 30 years of suing people? Even that big lawsuit that you had for, 3, 4 years that you finally dropped it? Start calling you True Freeman's sister by the way you always wanting to talk about court and knowing how to file out the paperwork. Then you want to tell, especially dark black women, not to compromise and not to chase after men. Let men chase after you. Well, I'll tell you what, Rashida, I kind of agree with you on that. But, women have been chasing after men since the beginning of time. Otherwise, women would never have taken and get a man. See, it's still got to be a mutual thing when it comes to that. That's reality. And you wanting to talk about, you didn't chase after your light-skinned boyfriend, which I'm going to call BS on, because at some point you're still going to have to talk to him. Even though that you kept saying, had all these other women that were chasing after him. You were still doing it, whether you admit to it or not. And that's a fact. Then you want to always tell your stories about, about all these men that when you was in college and about how successful they are. Except for that you're not. You don't own that house that you're in. You're renting it. And it's not that all of a great a house. For somebody that's supposedly has a master's degree in political science, which I could still use the toilet paper. So anytime you want to send it to me. And then a BA and something else. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it was a waste of money for you going to college. But you also want to say, that you were more interested when you was in college about writing books and putting on plays. You want to brag about, you're the only one that's foremost knowledge on the black woman, because I've wrote all these books. That hardly anybody ever buys. You're wanting to take in and create a sector and then say that everybody's stealing from you. Well, most people that start things, they want their agenda to spread. And they don't really care about who does it. They just want people to know about it. And the more people talk about it, the better it is. Oh, you want credit for it. That is the definition of a narcissist. And that you created the dark skin activist and it's trademarked. And so what? Toyota's a trademark, but everybody still uses that. Even as a branding, which I still don't see a branding on you. So apparently you're not too proud of your branding. Oh. And you wanted Neptune's fans, and shout out to Neptune's, to take and approve, that a black woman took and slashed his tires. Just because he was talking to another woman? And you're saying you want proof of that? All you got to do is go on YouTube and you can find where women do that shit all the time. It's really believable about what women do when they get jealous of a man. And it does go the other way around sometimes, but it's more prone in women to do that than a man. But I have seen men do it, but I've seen more women do it. Men are just more willing to move on, where a woman isn't. And then you want to take and say that you're the first one to take it and bring it to the internet, to social media about darkism. And then everybody started stealing from you after you went on the, onto that program and got Donkey of the Day. Man, you are so proud of that Donkey of the Day. The Breakfast Club. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. But anyway, you're just really proud of that. And then 2 years later, somebody else starts talking about it. Somebody that may or may not have ever even heard of you. I'm more inclined to believe that they never heard of you and was just doing their own thing. And the reason why they got a bigger following is because they are more likable. Oh, and I want to point out something else. You want to say about how real you are and how natural and that you're a vegan and all that. Well, you got all that yarn sewed into your head. And then you got it all braided up and want to give somebody else credit for having the braids of yarn in your head. Makes no sense. You want to say that you're all eating healthy and been doing that for years and you've been dating men and everything that was all eating natural. Well, let me give you a little fun fact here. Meat is part of that. Because otherwise you wouldn't have canine teeth. You'd have teeth like cows. See, cows don't have canine teeth at all. Just a little food for thought. Sorry, I'm reading notes that I write down when I'm listening to her BS and when she's not repeating herself all the time. But then you want to just keep spamming your chat with your Cash App, your PayPal, your GoFundMe. Want to tell everybody that you're like $640 away from 10,000. Well, how long did it take you to get to 10,000? Hasn't that been a couple of years? To get to the 10,000? Just saying. I mean, it's not like you're getting a lot of donations all at one time. And then we're going to come to DMX. Something that you criticize other YouTubers of doing. Talking about famous people that die and stuff to get money and clicks, as you want to point out and say, while doing the same thing. Want to talk about how wonderful he is, and and then talk about that you don't like people that do drugs and smoke. Which he did all the above. And admitted to it. And still did it. That's strange how that works. Very strange. Oh, and you also said about the drugs and, the smoking, that you would never date somebody like that. But you had. And you admitted to it. And I didn't get a chance to go back and look through the archives of yours to point out who it was. I might do that on a later episode of As the World Turns, according to Rashida Strober. So, anyway, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and leave a comment. This is L8N, signing out.